And we'll be returning now to our story on the Prime Minister's reply to the motion of thanks to the President's address in the lower house of India's Parliament, the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister covered a wide range of topics in his reply and taking on a lot of the accusations made by the opposition. We are joined by Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, to put things into perspective for us. Mr. Iyer, we first look at, the opposition disturbance which was happening largely throughout the Prime Minister's speech. That was not in good taste. Clearly, setting a bad precedent for this session.
Indeed, Mark, I think with this new Lok Sabha, the 18th Lok Sabha, and this was the first of the occasion when, yesterday when Rahul Gandhi was speaking and when other members of the opposition were speaking, the treasury benches heard them in silence. So if at all they wanted, they could have always countered if any points they wished to counter. But then to come into the well of the house and with Rahul Gandhi himself being named by the speaker that he was encouraging his party members to come into the well, I don't think this augurs well for the new house. And we also saw the Prime Minister saying that this kind of, we cannot dismiss this kind of behavior as a childish act. Rather, the chair must be very firm because this is not the way the houses can, the house will function. And Speaker himself warned the opposition members that this cannot go on like this for the next 5 years. But very broadly, if you see the Prime Minister's reply, making it very clear that the NDA has got the mandate and this mandate is for 5 years and that the larger goal of Viksit Bharat that is going to be rolled out. And the Prime Minister made it clear this is his third term, and this third term will mean that the efforts of the government, the efforts of his ministers, and his own efforts will be 3 times more than what was put in the last 10 years, because India has to grow, India has to develop, and it has a huge potential, and people are expecting this government to meet their aspiration. Mark.
Also, Mr. Iyer, the Prime Minister did respond on the NEET examination issue. He said that the guilty will be punished and remedial measures have been taken. You cannot play with the lives of the future of the youth. So he's come forward and he's spoken on the subject.
Yeah, because it was the very fact that it was mentioned in the President's address, the joint address to both the houses of Parliament. It contained a reference to this NEET leak, which clearly showed the government was willing to discuss this in the course of the motion of thanks debate. But for whatever reasons, Rahul Gandhi, as the new leader of the opposition, was insisting there should be a separate debate. So that's why you saw the first day being wasted in adjournment. Whereas in this very debate, since the President's address mentions the NEET and the government resolute decision to see that the culprits are brought to book and any changes that are necessary to ensure the security protocol is undertaken. And this was mentioned in the President's address. And today the Prime Minister also made it very clear that actions are taking place. CBI has been conducting raids, arresting several people. And we have seen some of the people who have been arrested are principal, even vice principal and teachers of some schools, private schools. So I think the Prime Minister was very clear in which direction the whole probe is headed for, and how the government will come down very heavily those who are breaching security protocol and indulging in this kind of practice.
Also, the leader of the opposition yesterday had brought out a rather narrow-minded view of Hinduism, and Prime Minister today said that the country will not forget Rahul Gandhi's remarks on Hinduism for centuries. He's put it into context, and he said that, these are deeply hurtful comments and they will be remembered from time to come.
Indeed, Mark, the Prime Minister pointed out that kind of a broad generalization about any particular faith, and in this case here, that Hindu Hinsa, he was saying, Rahul Gandhi was saying. So of course, later Rahul Gandhi tried to say that, no, I am only referring to the BJP and RSS, that they do not represent Hindu. But when he mentioned it, he didn't speak it that way, which left open to interpretation that why should Rahul Gandhi be making such a statement? So, what the Prime Minister pointed out, whether this was by design or this is by coincidence, but definitely there is a move afoot where to show the Hindu tradition, Hindu, or even the Sanatan Dharma, because he also referred to the allies of the Congress,
Right.
particularly the DMK, which has been talking in a very derogatory manner about the Hindu practices and faith and the Sanatan Dharma in particular.
Yes, Mr. Iyer, also we look at some of the some things in more detail. The Prime Minister also accused the Congress of, talking about lies, using lies as a weapon in a sense in politics. All the promises made, assistance of 8,500 rupees per month to women, to every woman. Also about EVMs, the Constitution, reservation issue. He talked about Rafale, certain, public sector units, HAL, LIC and all that, and banks. How do you view all this and the Prime Minister's response in a nutshell?
Well, Mark, the Prime Minister wanted to put the record straight on all these issues because even during the Lok Sabha campaign, it was made out as if that BJP wanted to amend the constitution and to do away with the reservation for the SC, ST and OBC. This campaign actually hurt the BJP politically in some constituencies. That's why the Prime Minister said, look, this whole Congress campaign in the Lok Sabha election has been based on a false accusation that the BJP was out to completely deform the constitution and do away with the provisions of affirmative action for the poor, particularly for the Dalits. And the Prime Minister pointed out even now an attempt is being made to fake a mandate for the Congress, which is not there. The fact that BJP managed to get 240 plus and that NDA was 295 were clears to show that the mandate is for an NDA government and a third term for the Prime Minister. Whereas the narrative has been sought to be made out as if it is, that this government doesn't have a mandate, the Prime Minister doesn't have a mandate, and that the Congress is somehow working on some kind of a strategy to capture power. So he says this whole thing is a fakery that is being used and which an attempt is being made to show as if that this government does not have a majority. Well, this government does have a majority. It is well past the halfway mark with the NDA support. So, therefore, there is no ground for continuing this kind of a false narrative, Mark.
Yes, also, Mr. Iyer, not only about the NDA at the center, he said that the NDA has also come to power in some of the states after this election. And he also did talk about, the big idea of a developed India, that every citizen looks for ample opportunities that are available. India is respected by the whole world. So, the mandate means something, both at the central level as well as the state level, but it also means something to the world.
Definitely, Mark, what the Prime Minister was particularly, highlighting was the BJP went to the people on its manifesto, which pledged to work for a Viksit Bharat, a grand India with set objectives. And the Prime Minister, the first part of his speech, if you look today, was focused on those Viksit Bharat goals and how committed he himself as the Prime Minister and the BJP as the ruling party in the NDA-led combination, and how they are committed to achieving some tangible results in the next 5 years. Because 2047 is when India will complete 100 years of independence. And there are set goals in covering every sector that has been highlighted in the BJP manifesto. So what the Prime Minister said was that he himself is personally committed that these results are achieved, people get the opportunity that they richly deserve to realize their potential so that the country as a whole marches forward in a much faster way, whether it's infrastructure, education, agriculture, shipping, fisheries, take any sector. There are set goals that have to be rolled out and people cannot wait any longer.
Right, we leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Shekhar Iyer. Thank you for joining us and throwing light on the Prime Minister's response to the motion of thanks to the President's address in the lower house of Parliament. The Prime Minister will be speaking in the upper house tomorrow. Now, it's been an unusually fierce and